thank you, everyone. Welcome to You Can't Do That Without Technical SEO. This should be a lot of fun over about the next 45 minutes to an hour. Thanks, like I said, for coming. Thanks also to Emily and Charlotte and Henry and everyone at NVI and Aaron and so forth for having me. It's pretty exciting for us, being that Flinders is so invested in the entrepreneurial mindset and ecosystem, that it's a real honour for us to come and speak today. So I'll tell you a little bit about me, and then we'll get into it. So my background is basically helping startups and founders come to grips with technological stuff, whether it be SEO, whether it be search engine marketing, social media, that sort of stuff. I teach how to code, I teach SEO, I teach a lot of stuff around the place, working a lot with universities and a small business as well. I actually started in the music industry a few decades ago in Brisbane. I was actually born here in Adelaide. I love coming back to Adelaide because it does feel like coming home, because in a way it is. But generally, yeah, started in IT almost by accident about 20 years ago, moved through there into marketing and SEO roles, also worked a lot within digital accessibility, which has a lot of comparisons, I guess, with SEO as well, and run a business called Meeum, where that's essentially what we do, is help entrepreneurs, small business and startups come to grips with technology to be able to really power on as best they can. Who are you? What I want to just, a general show of hands as far as backgrounds and what you want to get out of today, I guess, is who here is curious from the perspective of being a startup entrepreneur type person? Yep, cool. And so that's most of the room, that's awesome. Just sort of general interest in sort of, wow, what is technical SEO? Cool, awesome. Anything else?
Marketing.
Marketing, excellent, good. Fabulous, well, welcome. So, you can't do that without technical SEO. That's a bit of a loaded statement. So I think we should probably talk about what that is first. And I like to really, when I teach and talk about SEO, try and get out of the mindset of thinking too much about the search engine part of SEO. So what is that? We'll talk about gaining new customers and gaining traction for your startup, keeping your customers, keeping them happy, getting to the top of Google or any search engine. Throughout this talk, I'm going to talk a lot about Google, but it really does mean any search engine. We want to give our customers a great user experience, and we want to show that we're a leader in our field as well. So sometimes it's a good idea to stop thinking so much about SEO and think about a customer experience instead, because giving a good customer experience will generally lead to really good SEO as well, as we'll see when we go through. So as far as what technical SEO will do for that great customer experience. So technical SEO is nothing new. It has been around for a very, very long time, but it doesn't often get a look in. Most times when we're talking about SEO or hear about SEO, it's normally around content. And that's really, really important, as we'll talk about, but the technical side of things really is as well. It does sound hard, but a lot of it isn't, as we'll see. And there's a pretty good chance, for those of you who are in the startup scene, that a lot of your competitors aren't using a lot of the techniques that we'll talk about today. So we're going to talk a lot about tech SEO, some of the demystifies jargon, and see how it can equate to your business. So we should start sort of back at the beginning a bit and talk about what is actually SEO, which is search engine optimization. Essentially, the practice of increasing the quantity and quality of traffic to your website through organic search engine results. By organic, that means free. It hasn't come from an ad that you've paid for or anything like that. It's come from basically someone finding you on Google or on any search engine. It's come from traffic. Organic traffic is that's also coming from someone else's blog, possibly, where someone's gone, hey, this person's written this amazing article about this thing, and they link to you. That is part of your SEO as well. The whole point of it is organic. It is free. You have not paid for that placement. At its base level, SEO is information retrieval from the part of the search engine, being Google, Bing, DuckDuckGo, Yahoo, whatever. So at a minimum, to help that process along as best we can, we need to do two really important things. One of them is give really good information, and the other one is to make it easy to access. And making it easy to access is what technical SEO really comes down to. So there's a billboard in the desert, which is essentially what your website is without good SEO. No one's going to find it. So we need to have techniques in place so that people will find it. Here's some quick stats for you. There's 3.8 billion people, so that's about half the world's population, use the internet every day. That's a lot. Google do 3.5 billion searches per day. Handle, 3.5 billion searches a day. Again, that's a lot, big number. Google currently have 95% of the search market in Australia, which again, big number. That could change. Who knows where we'll be in 5 years' time, whether Google will still be at 95%, maybe they'll be at 96%, maybe they won't. The point being that without good SEO, your business won't be part of those billions of search results. So we need to have our SEO. Best thing about SEO is it's free. It is your time, but once you've got your tools and techniques in place, it is essentially free. Unlike you could essentially put a couple of $100 into a Google Ads campaign and be at the top of Google until you stop paying a couple of $100 a day or whatever it is that you're paying for it, and then you're not to be seen again. So the great thing about SEO is the fact that you are investing your time to stay at the top of the search engine, which of course is awesome for bootstrappers. Most of the businesses that we work with are bootstrap businesses. There's no venture capital. There's no one coming in saying, hey, here's $1 billion to go and spend on your advertising campaign. It is people who are invested in their business of their time and their money. And so SEO is by far the best way to promote your business in that way. We're going to talk really quickly about the 3 different types of SEO, and then we'll focus in on the technical side of it. On-page SEO, all about your content. So it's how well your content is optimized for the search engine with relevant keywords, subject matter, writing about the things that people want to know about. So that's our on-page SEO. We have off-page SEO, which is who's linking to you, who loves you so much that they're being an advocate, and they are linking to you and they're telling people, hey, you should check out this person's blog because they're writing some really, really cool stuff. And off-page SEO with the links from other people's websites, it's like a vote for you. And it helps Google trust you because other people trust you. And technical SEO focuses on how well search engines can crawl your site and index your content and therefore show it in a search engine results page. And technical SEO, this bit, is what we're going to be focusing on today. So the skills that we need for all 3 of those parts, or the skills that we would look for in someone if we were to think, hey, I'd like some help with my SEO if I don't want to do it all myself. On-page SEO being content optimization and so forth, generally you're looking at someone who is good with words, generally a copywriter. With your off-page SEO being website promotion and so forth, you're looking at marketing, you're looking at PR and things like that, people who will convince other people that you're awesome. You know you're awesome, but you've got to convince other people you're awesome. And then technical SEO can be handled by web developers. All 3 of these things are quite often handled entirely in-house for small business. And most of the businesses we work with do most of this stuff in-house themselves, which is pretty great. So, technical SEO. The technical side of your website. Don't think there's any surprises there by the name, technical SEO. Unlike on-page, being our content, and off-page, being our promotion, technical SEO has nothing at all to do with the content. It is to optimize the infrastructure of the site. It focuses on how well the search engine can find your content. It's often handled by web developers. Like I said, much of it can be done by you with some basic know-how. And it has grown in sophistication massively over the last 10 to 20 years, much like on-page SEO has. So as far as how you write your content, there used to be a time 10 or so years ago where you could do what we call keyword stuff. And you would say things like, here are my custom bath towels. We're the best place of custom bath towels to write about custom bath towels. And if you want your custom bath towels, come to our custom bath towel shop. So if someone Googled custom bath towels, they were going to get you at the top of Google. That doesn't work anymore. Technical SEO is similar in a lot of the updates and so forth that we've had over the last few years, as we'll see when we get into some of the nitty-gritty of it. The thing that I love about technical SEO is you can't game the system. You either have it or you don't. You can't sort of pretend to have really good server infrastructure. You do or you don't. That's all there is to it. And a lot of this stuff you can do it once and set and forget with the tech SEO, unlike on-page and off-page where it's really an ongoing sort of thing. So what we're going to be talking about today, the crawlability of your site, your server and your site speed, security, whether your site's mobile friendly, heading structure and semantics, structured data, and a whole lot more. Some of this might sound a bit boring, but trust me, it's really not. It's actually quite exciting. Let's talk about site speed first. There's a big turtle. So how much time do we have? 3 seconds is how long you have before you lose more than half of your traffic. So site speed has been a ranking factor for Google, and you'll find when you get more and more into SEO and read more about it, there are these things called ranking factors that every single search engine has. We don't know all of them, we know some of them. It's very hard to measure how much each one is sort of worth, but site speed is absolutely one and has been for almost a decade now, and has a massive effect as well on your user experience, obviously. Now, search engines care a lot about user experience, as should you. And so site speed is one of the first things. There's nothing worse than going to a website and just seeing this blank screen on your phone or on your laptop and just waiting and waiting and waiting and eventually going, I'm going somewhere else. So here's some stats. As I said, 53% of your mobile visitors will leave if your page takes longer than 3 seconds to load. The BBC were losing 10% of their users for every second. Let's keep away from that. For every second their site takes to load. That's a huge amount, obviously. And here's a great one. Amazon, for every 100 milliseconds, so 0.1 of a second of website latency, basically delay in loading, costs them 1% in sales. And you can imagine a company like Amazon, 1% of sales is a huge amount of cash. So site speed is a big deal. Lost time, lost money. 2 major parts of site speed that I want to talk about. First bit, time to first byte. It is mainly to do with your server infrastructure and your hosting. And it is almost impossible to measure how much traffic you're losing due to time to first byte, due to the fact that your website hasn't quite loaded yet. And so any analytics scripts that you might have that tell you how long someone may have been on your site for, what pages they've visited and so forth, that doesn't even get a chance to load before someone goes, I'm out of here. And so it's impossible, really almost impossible to measure how much traffic you're losing on that. But you can, in a sec, I'll talk about some tools so you can actually measure what that TTFB is to try and bring it down. Also related to your page speed is obviously the actual page load time, and this is how long it takes for your website to actually load after it's all spun up on the server and etc. There's a number of different factors on here. The main one is unoptimized images. I have literally done hundreds of website reviews and audits over the years, and every single one of them, bar maybe a couple, optimizing images has come back with amazingly huge positive results, because people will upload an image to their site, which is massive. And so,
what's not unoptimized?
Yep. So if you have an image, say you're writing, you sell chairs, and you've got a photo of a chair, and you upload that straight to your website, you pull it straight off your phone, and upload that straight to your website, and that image is 5 megabytes big, for example, which is pretty big, and also, say 4,000 pixels by 2,500 pixels, again, that's huge. That's an unoptimized image. So that if someone goes to your website, they're going to have to download that 5 megabyte image to see it. So with tools, and there'll be some in the tools list that is available at the end, you can optimize your images to make them smaller in both file size as also physical size as well. And when you've got a website that might have tens or hundreds of images, that impact is enormous. If you have overly complex templates or themes as well, slows down your website. This is particularly in the case of things like WordPress and Shopify, and other sort of tools like that where you load up a theme. I love WordPress. Most of the websites I build are in WordPress. Our website is in WordPress. But it is also very easy to quickly go, oh, I need this extra plugin, I need this thing, I need that thing, and you're smiling, you know what I'm talking about here. And all of a sudden, your page is slowed down. Your website's slowed down enormously, and it's like, why? What's going on? And generally, it's because there's so much trying to happen before the server can actually spit out your website and show it. So it's always important to make sure that if you are loading in extra stuff, it's like, do I really need this, and is this the best way to do it? Also within that, too many resource requests. So that's if your website itself is calling a bunch of other external files like CSS files, JavaScript, images, and so forth. And there are ways around this. So there are tools that we can do this. At the end of this, I'll give you a URL that you can go to, which lists every single tool and link that I show you today. You will get in a link, so don't need to madly write these down. Google PageSpeed Insights is excellent, where you can basically put your URL in there, it'll scan through your site and give you a really good idea of what is slowing it down, and it will give you suggestions as well and say, you know, you've got 4 JavaScript files, you should combine them into one and compress them, and you'll have the same output as far as what's seen on your screen, except it will load that much faster. There's also GTmetrix, which will give you a similar report as well. There's Google Lighthouse, which is another tool which is actually built into the Google Chrome browser, which you can get to as well, which will give a similar report. The Lighthouse report is also great because it also reports on accessibility and best practices as well. Again, these will all be in the link at the end. So the advantages of improving your site speed is why it's good for Google. You rank higher in the search results, woohoo, and you have a lower bounce rate. So when we talk about a bounce rate, what that means is if someone goes to your website and then leaves straight away without clicking through to another page or really interacting with the site at all, and it's generally not really a great thing to have. And people bounce a lot when they go to your site and it's taking ages to load and it's like, oh, and they go back, they pogo stick back to the Google search results page and click on your competitor. So that's why, for Google's sake, it's improved site speed is a good idea. Why it's good for your business. Repeat usage from your customers, user engagement, and obviously customer satisfaction. A fast website is a lovely website to go around. You can click around and go, oh, I can get to all this stuff. I'm going to go back there because it's so fast and wonderful. Now we'll move on to security. After I have a quick drink. Has anyone noticed that in Chrome and Firefox, being a web browser, if you go to a website, sometimes you might see a little pop-up at the top that says this website is not secure? Basically, that means that they are not using HTTPS. HTTPS means that all the web traffic between your computer or your phone and the server holding the website is encrypted and secure. That's what that HTTPS means. And without it, your traffic can easily be intercepted by a hacker or your ISP. So it's a really, really important thing to have that HTTPS. It used to just be HTTP. HTTPS came about in 1994, and it was just then for e-com. That was it, for e-commerce sites. So if you're actually, and banking. So if you're actually transacting money, you had HTTPS. And you'd spend quite a bit of money on having what is called an SSL certificate, or Secure Sockets Layer certificate, which meant your website was secure. It is now a ranking factor, and most SSL certificates are free. So you can, if you have a website currently and it is not HTTPS, all you need to do is talk to your web host and they'll be able to set it up more than likely for free, if not for a nominal fee. So it's definitely worth doing it. So, and the thing is that all websites, whether you like it or not, all websites involve the sharing of data. Even if I had a website about my cat, and then you're clicking around that website, that data is being shared because you've been to that website, you clicked on the page that says, this was Mitten's first time into the lounge room, or whatever. I don't even have a cat. But the point being, that is still transmitting of data. And so with HTTPS, that can't be seen. It can't be seen where you are clicking around in a website, and particularly when it comes to online forms, even subscription forms of putting in your email address to join a newsletter. That stuff needs to be secure. There's no reason not to have SSL. Like I was saying, your web host can set it up in a matter of minutes for you. If you're on a platform like Shopify or Squarespace or Wix, it is on by default. So that's a bit of a win for going through those programs. So there you go. Maybe I should have said that at the beginning. It's trustworthy. You're giving a visible security symbol and signal to your customer, being that lock in the URL bar, customer satisfaction, security within transactional websites, and it's easy to get set up. So there's no reason not to do it. Your site's got to work on mobile as well. So why? Because mobile, who doesn't have a mobile? There we go. Mobile traffic surpassed desktop traffic in 2016. It was actually long before that where search traffic surpassed search traffic on desktop. Search traffic on mobile has actually been far greater than desktop for a lot longer than that. And so this is why your site's got to be mobile friendly and why it does have an impact on your ranking as well. You can easily test this. Google have a free mobile friendly test where there's the URL. Again, that'll be in the links at the end, where you can just put in your URL, and not only will it say yes or no, if it's not, it'll tell you why, and it'll tell you exactly the things that it doesn't like about your site. And it might be that you've got a couple of buttons too close together, or some text is too small, or it's just too light a shade of grey, or something like that. Within that mobile-friendly test, you'll get this big, happy, your page is mobile-friendly, and you can click on a site-wide usability report. And if you have some pages that aren't mobile-friendly, it will tell you, and it'll say, you've got 2 pages that aren't mobile-friendly. You can click on that and drill down, and it will tell you exactly why. It's an amazing tool. So the advantage is this, why it's good for Google, rank higher in search results, because that's what we want since 2016. Google only uses the mobile version of your site. This is called mobile-first indexing. If you have 2 versions of your site, which a lot of places still do, Ticketek and Ticketmaster are 2 of the main ones that still do. A lot of the news sites used to. When I was working at news.com.au in Sydney about 10 years ago, we had a mobile, we had m.news.com.au as well as news.com.au, and it would divert depending on which device you were on. Now they don't. But Google, if you have 2 versions of site, Google will only look at the mobile version. And if you have a version of your site which does not translate well to mobile at all, then that's not good either, because that's what Google are looking for, and so you will be ranked lower again. And of course, why it's good for your business is because most people use mobile. And so if they go to your site, there's nothing worse of going to a website and you're on your phone and it's like, and you've got to pinch and zoom to try and find out exactly what's going on there. Voice is probably changing everything. And I think it is actually changing everything in that we have a concept within SEO called long tail. And it's not just within SEO, long tail is within really any business. And it's this idea of broader search terms, where when you speak into your phone, who here uses voice search at all? Yep, wow, that's a lot in comparison. That's great. And so if you were to talk into your phone and saying, where is the nearest Thai restaurant to me? Or where's the nearest hairdresser to me or something like that, you're going to be more verbose when you speak into your phone than if you were to type it. And so this whole long tail thing means that you need to be prepared for the fact that people are going to want to get results from your site, possibly via voice. So here's some quick stats. Last year, 2018, estimated 1 billion voice searches per month. More than a quarter of shoppers used voice assistant. So by voice assistant, we mean things like Siri, Cortana, Google Assistant, Alexa, that kind of thing. And voice commerce was $1.8 billion. This is in the States. So $1.8 billion is a lot of money. And so that was last year. They are predicting that in the next few years, 50% of all searches will be voice as we get more used to it. About 30% of those searches will be done without a screen. So it will be talking to your Amazon device or your Google Home or whatever you've got in your house, of just going, order me a cab, or how long does it take to cook rice, or order me dinner, whatever it happens to be. By 2022, voice commerce is predicted to be worth $40 billion. That's a lot more than 1.8 that it was last year. So it's only getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So why do you care? Because if you type something into Google, you have a page of results that you might scan through. Coming in second, third, or fourth is still pretty good. Voice returns 1 result. There's no prizes for second place with voice. So it's one of those things of being really cognizant of the fact that if you want to get to be that first result, of obviously being aware, and a lot of this falls into the parts of technical SEO that we're going to talk about now.
Sorry, can I don't think,
Yeah.
do you want questions?
Yeah, why not? Bring it on.
Do you think that it could be true that people will ask things that there are quick answers with voice more, but research and that kind of thing will be more typed out? Because we're
Anecdotally, I would say yes. Yeah. And I would say that because that's what I do. Yeah. And I think that, yeah, absolutely. When I'm researching and so forth, and also voice is one of those things too, that is purely context dependent, in that I'm not going to do a voice search on the bus. You know what I mean? And there will never be a time when I would hope that would be appropriate. You know what I mean? So
we're educational, so
you
wouldn't think that people are going to say, hey Siri, which uni should I go to? Like,
True. Yeah, that's very true. It could be, hey Siri, who does great entrepreneurial courses, or where can I study nursing in Adelaide, or something like that, that sort of stuff. And I agree that I think initial searching will be voice, but once you're getting into the nitty-gritty of it, I think absolutely it's still going to be Yeah, oh, there's absolutely still be a place for text-based searching, definitely. But voice is just getting bigger. So as far as heading structure and semantics, these, yeah.
Go on to your next bit.
Sure.
You were talking a bit before about, mobile and PC,
Desktop, yeah.
Desktop. So can you talk a little bit about business-to-business type situations where our startup is actually business-to-business?
Sure.
Is our primary go-to market strategy. So we're not necessarily very concerned about that. We can't imagine.
Yep.
Like our customers are our go-to-market strategy via lawyers. They're not going to be doing their work.
Yeah, sure.
On a laptop.
Yeah.
On a phone.
On a phone, yeah.
They're just
Yep.
not. So
Yep.
is there anything that we sort of need to think about?
Well, everything is context dependent, you know what I mean? And there's always going to be outliers where it's like, this doesn't matter to me, sort of thing. I remember I did some extensions on my house a couple of years ago, and I was talking to my builder, and his website wasn't great. And I said to him, I'm happy to give you a hand on your website. We're just talking about websites in general because that's one of the things that I do. And I said, do you want some SEO tips or anything like that to sort of, help out? And he was like, no, I don't. I use my website purely and utterly as basically my folio. I've got enough work and I don't. And so that's one of the things where not every small business requires SEO. Not every small business, like you were saying, needs to respond to be able to be found by a voice search. So a lot of this stuff is general in nature. Now I sound like an ad for a bank. And that's the thing with SEO and any web technology is working out what works for me. In the case of, say, advertising on social media on a totally different bent, you would find your business in a B2B space. I probably wouldn't recommend you advertise on Facebook, but possibly on LinkedIn. You know what I mean? Everyone has a different story. And so no, for you, optimizing for necessarily mobile or voice may not be worth the investment for you guys. So yeah, it is context dependent totally. Great question. So within semantics is basically, it's the study of meaning within language. So what that means is that we can have meaning within our code. We have HTML, and HTML is the language that we use to code all websites. All websites are based on HTML. And it means that the code has meaning within it. So you should only put content within the elements and tags they're meant to be in. And so what that means here, if we have an article, we would put that in and around article elements. Paragraphs go inside P elements. Block quotes go inside block quote elements and so forth. This one's sort of getting a bit into the weeds of coding, but on the same token, it's that whole idea of understanding the landscape. So if you do talk to a web development agency or a freelance web developer or wherever about building your site, making sure that they are coding semantically will go a long way for your SEO efforts. Within that as well is you've got the hierarchy of the headings on your page, and it's just like writing an assignment when you're at uni. In that every page must have an H1, which is the overarching theme of what the page is about. And then it has a number of H2s, being level 2 headings underneath that, and H3s and so forth. Here, I've got an example, this is the code side of it, but the H1 of that page is my favourite places in Europe, which means that everything within that page has to do with my favourite places in Europe. There are a number of level 2 headings, being France, Italy, and down the bottom there is Spain. Underneath France, I've got some H3s of Paris and Marseille. Underneath Italy, I've got a couple of H3s of Rome and Venice. The relationship between Rome and Marseille is the fact that they're both in Europe, if that makes sense. It is, and this stuff is hard to get your head around, and it's certainly not the kind of thing that I'd do a pop quiz at the end of this and go, so tell me about heading structure and semantics. But, again, being aware of it so that when you are typing out your content or when you are working with web developers, this stuff is taken into account because it is really, really important. Because it shows Google context. So that if Google doesn't understand that Rome is part of Italy and part of Europe, and that Italy is part of Europe, it will understand that if you've got it coded correctly.
So Sam, before you leave that,
yep.
You know those drop-down menus where you have FAQs?
Yes.
And then does that knock that out?
Not at all. So an FAQ, I would say that an FAQ page generally would be, your heading 1 on that page would be frequently asked questions about whatever it is, and each one of those questions would probably be an H2 of how would I use this thing in that context, or whatever it happens to be, would be an H2 under that, because they all have to do with frequently asked questions heading. So why it's good for Google? So search engines can gain valuable context, basically, to your website content and assess its purpose, which is the whole idea of technical SEO. So that the Google can work out, oh, cool, this page is about that, therefore I'll bring it up for these search results. And it can understand the hierarchy of your site with the heading structure stuff. Why it's good for your business is increased accessibility. This is one of the things I didn't touch on earlier, is that your heading structure in particular has a huge impact on the accessibility of your website. So when we're talking about technical SEO, it's obviously around machines being able to read your content, and that is at its core what accessibility is as well. So that things like screen readers that read websites to people that may not be able to see as well as you can have the website read to them. And with that heading context, they can quickly be able to skim through your website much the same way we could, of being able to go, skip for, no, I don't want to know about Italy, I don't want to know about France, here we are in Spain, I want to know about that, let's enter that section, because your headings are coded correctly. One of the other things about having semantic code too is it's much easier to maintain from a coder's perspective. Yes, how you doing? Good to see you.
Yeah, so we actually work with that as academics all the time with when we get PDFs from articles, they have the contents page left on the PDF and you can click on where you're going.
Exactly.
And also in templates and Word documents, it's pretty much the same thing.
Exactly, and it's exactly like that. Is that when you are templating out and you click on the navigation pane and say, show me the navigation down the left side. And that's how I write most of my articles in their draft stage, is in Word in that exact same thing. And you can see the structure there immediately. And it's just, again, just like writing an assignment. So yeah, awesome point. Structured data, which is really the nuts and bolts of a lot of this stuff that comes into play here. Structured data, again, is nothing new, but it is being given a very big push lately by Google. And this is something that increases the readability of your site to a machine hugely. So it's code that's visible to the search engine, and it helps them, along with your semantic code, helps them understand the context of your content. And it's a way to describe your data to a search engine in a language that they understand. And I'll show a couple of quick examples of that. Here are my contact details. This says, name, Sam Hemphill, my title, my website, and my email address. If Google were to scan that detail, it could probably work out with a fair degree of accuracy what all those details mean, which is great. But if I wrap some structured data around it, which basically says this has an item type of person, this bit here being my name has an item property of name, this co-founder has an item property of job title, etc., then there is no doubt in Google's mind, in the search engine's mind, when that bot is crawling my site, it knows without a shadow of a doubt, they are my particular attributes to me as a person. And when I put that in a structured data testing tool, that's exactly what comes out. You've just coded a person that has a name of Sam Hemphill, has a job title of co-founder, has a URL of, and an email of, etc. So it leaves no doubt to the search engine what you're actually talking about. Structured data looks confusing, but the great thing about it is it can be set and forget when you're using something like Shopify or WordPress or Squarespace or some other sort of templating management system. You can code it in once, and then every time you publish content, that content will have structured data around it. Being that you could put in the structured data for a person and then pull the details out of the database of which particular author wrote that site, wrote that particular article. Or in this case, this is a clip out of our site on our events page where we have an item property of location and place, and its property of name is pulling the value out of the database. So whether the venue is NVI Flinders, or whether the venue is the Brunswick Mechanics Institute in Melbourne, where I'm doing a workshop tomorrow, or somewhere in Brisbane, or wherever, that just comes out of the database. So I don't need to keep coding that in every time. It's just every time I publish a new event, that stuff's done for me, which is pretty great. Structured data can be used for a range of content, so articles, events, products, reviews, recipes, heaps of different things. And Google are constantly adding to that. Podcasts is one that's just come out recently as one that you can wrap structured data around so that Google can actually get a sense of exactly what the content is and all that sort of thing. and be able to search within Google for particular podcast episodes. And so there's heaps and heaps of stuff here. Again, another link there to the search gallery, which will be in the notes that you get at the end. This is a screen grab of when we did a weekend coding workshop earlier in the year. The young Benjamin was that. These are 3 dates. 9th of February in Brizzy, 16th of February in Melbourne, and 16th of March right here in Adelaide. And so that's a screen grab of what that looked like on our website at the time. That's the code of that. Looks pretty boring. We've added some structured data to that makes it so there is no doubt. So that 0902 does not mean the 2nd of September. It does mean the 9th of February by saying it specifically within the structured data, so that then you have things like this happen, where Google can read the data so well that it'll put it on the search results like that. Likewise, here's an example of Thai restaurants near my house. There's a few different results there. For me, I'm going to choose one of those two. This is just me, because they have ratings attached to them with structured data, where the other ones don't. Again, here's an example of me Googling myself. Tech for Non-Tech, which is one of the programs we run for startups. And again, because we use structured data, we have the rating system up here, which shows trust. We have Google has actually pulled the data out and made an events listing for us, which thanks very much. And also here, again, 7th to 8th of September, the venue, etc. Because it has structured data, Google is under no doubt whatsoever what we are talking about because of that. We can test our structured data within the testing tool that Google has, which is great. And it isn't that hard to implement. So why it's good for Google? Basically, so the search engine can explicitly understand what you're saying. Like I was saying before, and like I sort of keep rabbiting on about, is that it leaves no doubt as to what you're talking about. Why it's good for your business. Improve trustworthiness. Being able to put ranking reviews on your site, those little 5-star things, is great. Improving click-through rate and sales due to that trust. Your pages are far easier to find in search, and your business looks more professional and engaged. And if you go back to this example too, you take up more space, which is pretty great on the Google listing, if you've got all that in there, because Google can know, yeah, cool, I'll put an events listing through this because I know it's an event and I know this is the date and all that sort of stuff. So as far as tools with our SEO stuff, there's been a few mentioned already. Google Analytics is a big one. Google Analytics is free. If anyone has a site, I would absolutely say, please put Google Analytics on it immediately if you don't already, because you can measure your traffic, where it's coming from, which pages it's being clicked on, what search terms people are finding you from, things like that. Google Search Console is amazing. Once you have proved ownership within your page and you set up Google Search Console, which again is free, it will tell you things about, again, similar to analytics, search terms that people are finding you on and so forth. But most importantly with Search Console, once you start adding structured data, it will tell you immediately if there's any errors with that and tell you how to fix them, which is amazing. And so you just get this email that pops up and says, hey, we've got a problem with your product listing. You haven't put in the price or something like that, or you haven't put in the currency. And that's another thing about the structured data side of things, where it leaves ambiguity out of it as far as whether it's the 9th of September or the 2nd of February with sort of, the 2nd of September or the 9th of February. Likewise with currency, you put in, if you've got a product for sale, you put in its currency is AUD or USD or whatever currency it happens to be. So again, it's getting rid of that ambiguity side of things. But the webmaster tools are excellent, and again, you run your site through that, it will bring up errors where it thinks you could be doing better, which is awesome. Broken link checker is another one, and that is one where essentially run your site through that maybe once a month or something. Make sure that all the pages that you're linking to all over the internet, as well as your internal pages, still exist. Because if you're linking to a 404, what we call a 404, which is a page that no longer exists, if you're linking through to one of them, again, that's a bad user experience. No one likes a bad user experience, especially Google, and especially your customers. And also testing your site speed with Google Test My Site and also Page Speed Insights are all awesome tools for that. So, as well as that, crawlers and auditors. All of these have free intro tiers, I guess, whether it's free for 14 days or free for 10 searches a day or something like that. But they're all really good. Website Auditor, Screaming Frog, and also SEMrush, Moz, and Ahrefs are sort of the industry leaders, I guess, within this stuff. Very worth checking out, even if signing up for the free 7 days or whatever it is, and getting a report back on your site and getting an idea of what things are good and what things aren't so good. So it gives you an idea of what to work on. So as far as where to go with your own SEO, whether it be starting up a new site, thinking about a new business idea, or looking at a site that you've already got that already exists, basically write great content. That's getting into the on-page stuff. Publicise your product. That's your off-page stuff. Tell the right people how good it is to get organic traffic. And the right people will hopefully tell other people how good it is. And so it goes. Be active on your social media and choose the social that fits your niche. Again, we were talking about this earlier, whether, do you go and advertise sort of industrial law on Instagram? Probably not. But on the same token, if you're selling shoes, really pretty shoes, do you put that on LinkedIn? Maybe, but probably not. And so, and being active on social media does help your SEO because it does help that whole round, holistic view of getting your name out there and getting known and having people come to your site. If you need to work with an agency, absolutely do, but I don't see working with an agency, unless it's the kind of thing where it's like, this is just not for me at all and I would rather farm this off. I personally don't see that working with an SEO agency is a long-term plan, a long-term solution, because it can be quite costly, particularly again for bootstrap startups, in that so much of this stuff, and you do get the hang of it as you go along, to work out what can work and what bits you may want to pay someone else to do. And another thing as well is getting some tech skills or partnering with someone who does have them, so that technical side of things you can slowly work on. And this is the kind of thing, again, everything that we've talked about today, and also, obviously the on-page and the off-page stuff is whole other topics unto themselves. Each one of those things, doing one thing isn't going to do a lot, but doing a whole lot of stuff slowly will bring up your rankings. And it is the kind of thing where changing servers so you've got a faster website, there's a little bit. Playing around with structured data, listening to those emails that you get back from Google that says, hey, we've got a problem with your listing, this is what's wrong, you didn't put in a start date for your event, cool, fix it up and put in a start date. Stuff like that will slowly bring up your listings, which is obviously super important. There's a picture of a broken down car, which is what will happen sometimes with your SEO if you don't keep an eye on it. And so this is the kind of thing, even though a lot of the technical SEO stuff, you can set it and forget it, like I was saying with the things like structured data, getting a faster server, all that kind of thing. SEO still needs to be managed in a way, particularly the on-page content side of things. And if you let it go, it'll break down. And obviously, just like you let a car go, it will break down, things will fall off, and so forth. And so it's really good just to keep an eye on it. And that if you choose to, like I was saying, you can do most of this, if not all of it yourself. But keeping an eye on it, where you have maybe a monthly, 2-monthly check, where you have a little notebook and you say to yourself, right, I'm going to test my site speed, I'm going to test run it through a broken link checker and all that sort of stuff, and just do that semi-regularly to make sure that you are keeping on top of things. Phew, dead on, 47 minutes. Anyone have any questions?
Yeah, I've heard there have been statements made that no matter how hard you work and no matter how much you do, if there is somebody that, say a competitor that has been on there for 3 years versus your 3 months,
yep,
you're never going to get ahead of them.
Not necessarily true.
And that's what I thought.
Yeah, no, that's not necessarily true at all. We've seen plenty of cases where that is absolutely not the case. It depends on your competitors, on their SEO. Your competitor might have amazing SEO, which might take a really concerted effort to knock them off the top, and maybe you won't be able to do it, you know what I mean? But it's certainly not a set in stone. Longevity at the top doesn't really count for a lot. I mean, it certainly has its place, absolutely, like it does mean something. But on the same token, if you're delivering content that people want and what people are searching for, if Google or whatever search engine decide that your site is you're actually answering the question a bit better, then you'll go up. Yeah. So yeah, no, there's no... having said that, but yes, I mean, longevity is a thing, but answering the questions that people are asking is the goal with that. And also the technical SEO stuff, having the structured data things and all that sort of stuff does help. And that's the main part where we've seen people jump, is because people get a much higher click-through rate when they have that structured data in place. And so even if they're not necessarily getting to that number 1 spot, they're getting a lot more trustworthy they look a lot more trustworthy and so forth, and getting a much higher click-through rate.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Cool, thanks.
yeah, no worries.
If you've got a managed WordPress site that you've set up yourself,
Yep.
you basically have to get some sort of HTML skills or find somebody who's got them to put that structured data into your website and put it in the right.
If you've got access to your theme and you're prepared to play around with it a little, you can do it yourself, for sure. On those pages in the links there around the structured data, testing pages and so forth, they give excellent examples of how it all works and where to put it in. And you can actually paste the code of your site into the tool, highlight the bits and say, this is the date, say if we're talking about an event, this is the date of my event, this is the venue, this is the time, and so forth, and then tell the tool those things. It will actually give you back the exact code to put into your site for that. So, yes, you can do it yourself. Or getting someone else to do it, who, if you're feeling you'd be more confident with someone else to do it, it's not a trivial task, but certainly not something that's going to take them days to do.
You also have to get it right, so you need to know what you're doing.
True. I mean, if you can set up a staging server, that's always the best way to do it, where you've basically got a duplicate of your site on a password-protected server that no one else can see, so you can play in that and test it, make sure it works, and then transfer it to your live site.
Sort of sandboxing thing
Yeah.
in apps on a laptop.
A lot of servers, a lot of web hosts will set that up for you for free, of saying, I want a staging server, staging setup, which is a duplicate of my site. A lot of those will set that up for free. I know within, I think Shopify, you can definitely do it, and there are a lot of managed WordPress places. I think WP Engine does it, but there are some that do that just off the bat of saying, here's your staging server. So you do have that place to be able to play around and see how you're going before you push it live. So yeah.
How deep do they crawl usually? So is page load times important?
Yep.
You see some sites that have a massive landing page and have basically everything in it.
Yeah.
So how much do you push it into content underneath that?
Sure. It really depends. There's no one size fits all answer to that. It depends on your niche. It depends on what you're doing. There are certainly ways of jamming a lot of content onto one page, and you can do things like what we call lazy loading images, where the image doesn't actually load until the user scrolls to the part of the page that it's on. So the page weight isn't affected so much. But it really does depend on a case-by-case basis of what it is that you're attracting content for and so forth. Yeah. So yeah, it varies. There's no one size fits all answer for that one. Cool. Anyone else?
And can a lot of this stuff be done like through the dashboard on like a managed WordPress like GoDaddy?
Yep, for sure. If you go into your themes bit within WordPress in particular, if you go into your themes bit, you'll be able to get to every single template within there. And so long as you're not conflicting with any sort of version control that a developer may have set up or anything like that. But if that your production site is there, and that is sort of the live version of it, absolutely you can get in there into the themes version, the themes bit within the back end, and yeah, add the stuff in. So, yep, definitely. Thanks, Hayes, for your time. One more question. Yes.
With me?
Yeah.
How much, once you've done the initial setup hard work, how much time on average would you recommend a business owner spends
On their SEO?
SEO maintenance?
Again, it depends. It depends on how much you're doing. I spend a fair bit of time on ours because obviously I teach it, and so I use myself as a case study a lot of the time. Again, it depends, And I'm also testing things as well. I'll put a lot of things up to test and see how it goes, test where that may rank. Sometimes it takes a while to Google come past, and because you can request, once you've made a massive change to your page, you can actually request in Google Search Console to say to Google, hey, could you come back and re-index my page because I've made a big change. That can sometimes take a while to happen, and so it all depends on that sort of thing. But certainly testing results, when you make a major change, test that a lot, like log in every morning and go, is there anything different? Is there anything? And yeah.
All of those tools, as far as I can tell, were free.
Yes.
Are there any paid tools that you swear by?
When I talked about website, website orders is when I was talking about that, which are in that, so meeum.com/NVI, will take you to a page that has all of those links in it. Is there a way that we can send that out through the Eventbrite as well? Yeah, cool.
Get an email tomorrow.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. of all the links and everything. So basically that page has all the information, all the links and everything that we talked about.
But we did record the presentation.
Yeah.
That'll be available in a couple of weeks on our YouTube.
So all of them were free except for the ones where I was talking about Website Auditor and Screaming Frog and Ahrefs and Moz and stuff like that. But Ahrefs and Moz, Screaming Frog, all those are excellent. They're not cheap, but they are excellent. So it's the kind of thing that a lot of the people we work with will sign up for a free trial, get a whole lot of feedback, do a whole lot of work, and then pay in bursts sort of thing. Certainly, most of the people I know who will pay for a subscription to a lot of those sort of tools are SEO managers, who it's in their best interest to be able to have constant feedback on this stuff. So, yeah. Cool. Thanks, everyone.